I said salute to the untouchable True School Sports Empire,
That's
taking
right, the
over
untouchable.
not only the South Florida boxing scene, but the worldwide boxing scene.
It's personal between me and you, and I'm going to do you some serious harm, you big stiff idiot.
The untouchable True School Sports Empire proudly presents something the boxing games are missing. Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT, and I came here to talk some boxing with the thousands of True School Sports subscribers. Now, in the aftermath of Naoya Monster Inoue's fight against Paul Butler, where he's become undisputed, it was a rather, lopsided matchup. Nobody really thought it was going to be competitive. It was what it was. It played out how we thought it was going to play out with a stoppage victory, with the only surprise really being that Inoue went 11 rounds, but the result was still what we expected. So with that being said, he's now been getting a lot of hype from boxing media outlets and publications. And listen, he deserves and he's earned every last bit of his hype and his acclaim and his adoration with boxing fans, the media, and everybody involved. But this always happens. This always happens when it comes to any fighter who's like below 126, who's not an American fighter. This always begins to become a problem when like guys like Inoue or Chocolatito or Gaio Estrada or Bam Rodriguez, these guys that actually really go in the ring and really prove themselves, not guys that just sit on social media and don't do shit for like, a year, So the question I'm going to pose in this video is Naoya Inoue really overrated, or do y'all just not know shit about boxing? And when I say y'all, I mean to anybody that is a boxing fan or anybody here in the YouTube boxing community who claims to know the sport, but then they want to discredit Inoue. It's always after his fights. They don't talk about him before his fights. They don't talk about him during his fights. They always want to discredit him after his fights. So let's talk about it. Is Inoue overrated? We're gonna get into the resume talk. We're gonna get into like the boxing talk, all that. So make sure you guys just bear with me. This might be a bit of a longer video, but Naoya the Monster Inoue, as it stands right now at this beautiful moment in time, Naoya Inoue is 24-0 with 21 KOs. Now, that's a great record. That should be respected. And when you factor in that he's been a 3-division champion, now he's undisputed, lineal champion at 118. He's done things that are worthy of praise. He's done things that are worthy of the hype that he's garnering. Factor in that he's done it in a fashion with a brilliant blend of speed, power, IQ, defense, fundamentals, and you have a guy that really and truthfully is special. I mean, special in every sense of the word. Now, a lot of people like to discredit this guy's resume, saying that he hasn't fought nobody, but really, it's more due to their own ignorance than him actually not fighting anybody, because he's fought quite a lot of somebodies, and I'm not gonna go through his whole resume because this really isn't a resume breakdown, but I'll just use this one example because this just proves that he has fought people and he has done things worthy of praise. Now, Naoya Inoue, in his fourth professional fight, I repeat, his fourth professional fight, he took on a fighter by the name of Ryoichi Taguchi, and this was for the Japanese light flyweight title all the way back in like 2013, long time ago, almost 10 years ago already. Time's just flying by. But he beat Ryoichi Taguchi in his fourth pro fight. Now, at that point in time, Taguchi's record coming into that fight was 18-1-1. So you're talking about a guy with 20 fights versus a guy with 3 professional fights, okay? That same guy who had 20 professional fights, he wound up losing to Inoue. It was a fight that, was competitive, but Inoue won it clearly. He outboxed Taguchi. After Inoue beats Ryoichi Taguchi, not only does Ryoichi Taguchi become a legitimate, top-class world champion, but he unifies the division. He actually winds up winning 2 belts. So after Inoue beat him, right? I got it in front of me right now. After Inoue beats Taguchi, he wins the world title just over a year later, right? On New Year's Eve of 2014, he wins the world title, wins the WBA title, and then defends it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times, and even goes ahead to unify the divisions, picking up the IBF belt along the way. And this is a guy that Inoue fought in his 4th pro fight. Now, to the people that want to discredit this weight class, they say, "Oh well, I never heard of this guy. How do I know if he's good?" Listen, anybody who wins a world title, defends it 7 times, and unifies it has got to be at least halfway decent. At least halfway decent, because I don't care who you are. That boxing ring is a chamber of truth, and you will get found out if you are not the truth and you're not the goods. And unlike a lot of people who, like a lot of these people on YouTube who want to discredit Inoue, their favorite weight classes are like the fucking most hype job weight classes in boxing. 147, 135. You know, these weight classes where guys talk more on social media than they actually fight. And in these lower weight classes, because there's not as much money available, these guys actually have to make the top fights to get noticed. And in some cases, they got to fight 2 or 3 times just to get a little bit of notoriety. So it's not like this weight class where you can cherry pick, duck, maneuver, and politic your way through. No. When you fight in like 108, 112, 115, and even 118, you got to actually prove your worth in the division. So, you know, Inoue's done that. And that's only one fight. Taguchi, like, what does Inoue got to do to get pound for pound consideration from some of you guys in the boxing community? Like, does he got to, who does he got to fight? Does Inoue got to go ahead and fight, you know, in his 4th pro fight? Should he have fought a guy like Aaron Anderson in his 4th pro fight? Now, you guys may be asking, who the hell is Aaron Anderson? Who is this guy, Aaron Anderson? Well, this is a guy that Terrence Carter fought in his 4th pro fight. And this is a guy that Terrence Carter fought who didn't have any fights. Terrence Carter was a 3-0 fighter, fighting a fighter with no fights. And he fought him in Iowa. I didn't even know they had boxing in Iowa at the Johnson City Fairgrounds. So you could have watched Terrence Carter at the local county fair in his 4th pro fight and ate a fucking funnel cake, you know, with the Coke, and you would have been all right. You know, maybe Inoue should have fought Aaron Anderson in his 4th pro fight. Maybe Inoue in his 4th pro fight, maybe he should have fought Luis Torres. You know, maybe that's who he should have fought. And now you guys may be asking, who is Luis Torres and who fought this guy Luis Torres in his 4th pro fight? Well, that would be none other than your boy Earl Spence, who is Luis Torres was 4-2-3, and he fought him at, you know, some sort of basketball gymnasium in San Antonio. So maybe this is what Inoue should do to get notoriety. Maybe he should have fought these kind of guys at these kind of prestigious venues, and maybe he would have been given the credit he deserves. But, you know, that's just what all these guys like Crawford and Spence and these hype jobs you guys like to promote. And I don't want to call, I take it back. I don't want to call them hype jobs. They're great fighters. I don't want to call them hype jobs. But like guys that people rate so highly, like they're untouchable. Like they're these, you know, nobody can compete with Crawford or Spence. But these guys are fighting in basketball gymnasiums against nobodies. Guys with no fights. Guys with losing records. You know, these are the guys you guys hype up. But then the guy who fights, the guy with 3 pro fights, who fights a guy with 20 pro fights for a highly prestigious regional title and beats him. And then that same guy he beat goes on to become a dominant champion, unifies the division with 7 title defenses. That guy hasn't fought nobody. That guy needs to prove himself. You know, you guys, you people in boxing, you content creators, you ignorant boxing fans, you expose yourself more and more as the days go by as not really knowing shit about the sport. And we're just talking resumes. If we get into the technical side of it, then it gets even better. It gets even better because Inoue, when it comes to the actual factual boxing part, is doing his thing. Now, is Inoue without criticism? No, he's not. Is Inoue a guy that, you know, doesn't have things you can, you know, slate on his resume? Of course he does. You know, I thought Inoue was absolutely disgraceful in not fighting any one of the big 3 fighters at 115. He didn't fight Chocolatito. He didn't fight Gallo. He didn't fight Rungvisai. You know, so that to me, that's a blemish on his resume because those are all guys that are of top quality, guys that, you know, have been pound for pound guys, are pound for pound guys. Right now, you know, they're top fighters in boxing. So the fact that he fought in that whole weight class without ever fighting one of them is not a good look. The fact that he moved up 2 weight classes to avoid Roman Gonzalez, who was calling him out, to fight a older Omar Narvaez, you know, it's a blemish, you know, and don't get it twisted. Narvaez was a fantastic fighter who had made a whole truckload of title defenses, but Obviously fighting Roman Gonzalez would have been better. But when he got to 118, which was his weight class, albeit it wasn't a great weight class, he made sure that he, ironed out the whole division. He didn't leave it to chance. He didn't, he showed his level in the weight class. People discredit guys like Emmanuel Rodriguez now, but I remember when Emmanuel Rodriguez was 19-0 and they fought on the World Boxing Super Series. This is a guy, Emmanuel Rodriguez, that a lot of people were talking about being the next great Puerto Rican fighter because he was one of the most well-decorated amateurs from Puerto Rico. Rodriguez already had a winner with Paul Butler, who Inoue just beat. He already beat Maloney, who Inoue, or good fighter in the weight class. He had already done things, and even now to this very day, you look at like what Rodriguez has done. Rodriguez fought Raymar Caballo, another top fighter in the weight class. Beat him pretty easily, but they didn't give it to him. And then in his most recent fight, he took the O of Gary Antonio Russell, who a lot of people used to tell me was this underrated fighter at 118, and I was like, nah, I don't think so. But Rodriguez continues to show that he is one of the better bantamweights in the world. And Inoue ironed this dude out in 2 rounds and treated him like he was trash. Same thing goes for a guy like Juan Carlos Payano. Shout out to Juan Carlos Payano, one of South Florida's very own. I love Payano. But Payano, he was the guy, I remember it. He fought Rashid Warren, another, top fighter, who was a top amateur, fought him for the world title in 2015, beat him not just once, but, no, they fought twice. He lost the second time. But what I'm saying is he beat him, became world champion, had established a reputation in this division as one of the top guys. Inoue knocked him out in 30 seconds. So it's all, when I hear people talk about Inoue, it's not people that were actually following his career or have any true context of the guys he fought, why certain fights happened, these kind of things. It's all people who have their own agenda and their own narrative that they wanna to justify, that they wanna try to put the next man down. And the reality is, Inoue, it's like Roy Jones Jr. said, and they got the nerve to say, I ain't fight nobody, I just make him look like nobody. Y'all must have forgot. Inoue makes a lot of these fighters who are actually good fighters, top fighters. You put them in there with guys that aren't of Inoue's caliber, they're gonna look good. They're gonna do their thing. And as many of them have showed after they lost to Inoue, like Taguchi, like Emmanuel Rodriguez, these guys, like Donaire, these guys all have shown themselves to be top fighters in the weight class, just not as good as Inoue. So give the man his credit where credit is due. And that's just resume talk. We're not even talking about the boxing side where, Inoue, let's just talk about it. Elite power. The guy has 21 knockouts in 24 fights. It don't matter if it's been a pressure fighter. It don't matter if it's been a tall fighter, long and rangy. It don't matter if it's been a boxer puncher. It don't matter if it's been a pure boxer. He has fought many styles, orthodox and southpaw, and Inoue has beat the living shit out of every last one of them, folding them up like a blue steel chair, like The Rock, like Chris Jericho, like the WWF stars of yesteryear. Inoue has done his thing and shown his quality. Look at also take into account, the boxing skills he shows, the jab, the way he's able to look at this last fight against Butler, and I talked about it in my post-fight review video. Look at the way he had to work for that knockout, because we know, even though Paul Butler isn't no great fighter, he's still a top guy in the weight class. He's one of the top guys in the weight class. We know in boxing, and we've seen this with other fights, like you look at a fight like Andre Ward versus Alexander Brand. Alexander Brand wasn't anywhere as close to as good as Andre Ward, and Andre Ward should have obviously got him out of there earlier, right? But no, Alexander Brand was very defensive against Andre Ward. And when a guy is very defensive and he's crafty and he's a veteran and he just knows how to survive, that makes him harder to stop. And so if you can be the guy that fights an opponent like that and you stop an opponent who's fighting so cautious, who's fighting so negative, who's fighting so much in a manner that it's just hard to knock him out, then that shows how good of a fighter you are. And in this fight with Butler, if you go back and you watch the fight, you saw Inoue in this fight do all kinds of things to try to knock out Butler. Butler had a very good high guard. Inoue tried to go down the middle with straight punches. That wasn't working early on. Then he came down to the body. That started to break him down a little bit, but then Butler, started using his legs more. Dan Inoue kind of had to mirror his rhythm, meaning that he had to kind of try to fight in the same rhythm or kind of impersonate his rhythm to time him. And a lot, not a lot of fighters can do that or have the presence of mind to even try that in a fight. And he was doing it. And eventually he got the knockout because of these things. So Inoue has shown himself when he's been through adversity, like he's Donaire in the first fight. Then Donaire broke his orbital bone. We know Donaire can punch. And when he got asked some serious questions, he showed that he could handle adversity. So it's easy to say, oh, well, now Inoue fought an old man, and Inoue, fought all these guys that were nobodies. But if you didn't follow his career and you don't have the context, and you don't actually know the history of his career, then you shouldn't talk. Because all these people who hate Inoue, I can talk about Crawford and Spence better than they can. I can tell them about fights they probably don't even know about with their careers. So just all I'm saying is, if you're going to talk about boxing, if you're going to talk about fighters, and if you're going to discredit them, at least know their career, at least know, like, things that happen in their career. And Naoya Inoue, I'm not saying you got to think he's pound for pound number one, but to sit here and act like he doesn't have a claim to be the best fighter in the world is foolishness. This guy has 3-division champion, undisputed, lineal, been in the fight of the year contender, 21 knockouts in 24 fights. The fastest fighter to win a world title, I believe, along Lomachenko in boxing, won a world title in his 6th pro fight. I mean, come on, man. He's at minimum, a top 3 fighter in the sport of boxing. His consistency over 3 weight classes and damn near a decade now shows you that. So come on, man. Let's do better. Let's do better, boxing fans and content creators. We're better than this, you know. I'm going to leave it at that. You guys leave your comments down below. Make sure you guys take the time to subscribe. And like I say in every single one of these videos, you can love me or you can hate me. But I'm just a kid from Daniel. So until next time, thank you for watching another video on the untouchable True School Sports Empire. For more great boxing content just like this video, click right here and make sure you subscribe. Much love from sunny South Florida.